What's up, folks? Your buddy Fatalroadie. Tonight we're doing a Raw recap. Just a quick channel note. Next week I'm going to be on vacation, so there's not going to be any wrestling videos for Raw or SmackDown. Hopefully nothing serious happens, but we'll get to that when we have it. So back to the recap. Drew McIntyre comes out. He talks about last week and how it now goes towards the future. Then Dolph Ziggler comes out. He's been traded to Raw along with Robert Roode in the trade with AJ Styles. Ziggler's happy to see McIntyre as champ. Ziggler says that McIntyre is champion and everything because of him. Dolph says that he's owed a title match. McIntyre says you're the person that we were fighting against back in Raw, and without him, Ziggler's been losing a lot lately. McIntyre calls him an entitled jackass, which is true. And Drew McIntyre makes it official at Extreme Rules. It'll be Dolph Ziggler versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship, which I'm sure will have the obligatory contract signing in a couple of weeks. Oh, we got Nia Jax coming out. She gets a chair. She sits in the ring. She says, it must be Monday. Damn, Nia, we can't get shit past you now, can we? She comments on Charlotte Flair getting another title shot. R-Truth comes out. He says he's supposed to have the match with Akira. R-Truth thinks Nia Jax is Akira. Then over at the commentary table, Akira's there. He shows up with a bunch of ninjas. What the fuck? Then Charlotte Flair comes out. She says that Nia Jax dropped the ball. Jax talks about how Flair hasn't never beaten her, talks about her dad. They fight. Refs come out to split them up to no avail. Jax apparently injures Charlotte Flair's arm. Then we get a recap of the Street Profits Viking Raiders BS. 30 minutes into the show and we finally have a fucking match. The Viking Raiders versus the Street Profits for the Raw Tag Team titles. This was a decent match. There were some really good spots. The Street Profits nail the Viking experience. They only get a 2 count. We then had the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits trading off cartwheels. At one spot, Aerie slams / power bombs both the Street Profits. That looked really impressive. Montez Ford gets the pin on Ivar and they retain their titles. After their match, the Viking Raiders give respect to the Street Profits. They all handshake and hug it out. Cool, can we now move on from this? But wait, Angel Garza and Andrade come running in, attack the Street Profits. The Viking Raiders come running back out to chase them off. So it looks like we're actually going to move away from this. Backstage, Austin Theory and Murphy have been thinking. Must have sounded like a train wreck. And Seth Rollins has a message for Rey Mysterio. We have a recap from last week where Seth Rollins was jumped by Dominic. Then backstage, Seth Rollins says the greater good is coming and that legends like Rey Mysterio can outlive their welcome. We then have Asuka versus Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's Championship. This is a very physical match from both Asuka and Charlotte Flair. Asuka works on Flair's injured arm. She ends up hitting the Asuka lock and retains her title. This is a good match. I liked it. We then have a recap of last week with Randy Orton and Christian. Ed shows up to give an update on Christian and vows revenge on Randy Orton. Backstage, Nia Jax attacks Charlotte Flair, targeting on her arm. So does this mean we're not going to see Charlotte Flair for the next couple of weeks? Please. We then have R-Truth versus Akira Tozawa for the 24/7 title. There's a whole bunch of ninjas at ringside. Bobby Lashley comes out, lays waste to the ninjas. Akira hides underneath the mat. Lashley gets in the ring, puts a full Nelson on R-Truth, drops him, leaves the ring. Akira scurries into the ring, pins R-Truth, and is now the new 24/7 champion. We then have Liv Morgan versus Natalya. She's saying she has a new announcement, and she's with Lana. Okay. This was a match. Lana distracts Liv Morgan. Natalya gets the sharpshooter on her. Alright, whatever. Backstage, the Big Show talks about the ninjas, shills his TV show, and says he's got a score to settle. Ric Flair comes out to the ring. He calls out Randy Orton, calling him the greatest wrestler ever. I really hope Shane McMahon didn't hear that. They talk about Christian and Edge. Big Show then comes out. He says he's had enough, tells Orton they'll pay for what they did, calls Randy Orton a parasite. Randy Orton hints at Big Show being a legend and that he might suffer the same fate. Big Show's had enough of this. He says square up. Randy Orton and Ric Flair leave and says that what happens next is going to be on the Big Show. We then have Sasha Banks and Bayley versus the Iconics for the women's tag titles. There was one spot in this match where Bayley, who was the person out, grabs Peyton Royce, who was the legal person, and there was no DQ. Bruh. What happened to that magical rule that Vince McMahon had? Guess it's only subjective. This is an alright match. Really wasn't much to it. Sasha Banks got the bank statement on Peyton Royce, and they retain. Sasha Banks and Bayley get on the microphone. Sasha Banks says that she feels left out, that Bayley has 2 belts, and that she wants a title shot. What? Against Asuka. Damn, almost thought we were going to have that match. Asuka then comes out. She says, "You're not the boss of me." She accepts. Sasha Banks and Bayley attack Asuka. Banks puts the bank statement on Asuka and then stands tall with both the tag belt and the Raw Women's Championship. Now, how is Sasha Banks going to be facing against Asuka when Sasha Banks is on SmackDown? Hello? Sorry, that just doesn't make sense to me. Then we got MVP in the VIP lounge. MVP says he's in the lounge, so that means one thing. Yes, we're gonna waste a ton of fucking time. He introduces Apollo Cruz. MVP tries to recruit Cruz once again. Apollo says no. MVP says, "You won't be champion without me in your corner." They start to square off. Shelton Benjamin then comes out. MVP distracts Apollo, allowing Benjamin to attack Cruz. And we go on to our next match. Shelton Benjamin versus Apollo Cruz. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be for the United States title. Anyways, we start this match in progress after the commercial. Benjamin works on Apollo Cruz's injured arm. This really wasn't a long match. It was rather quick. Apollo Cruz got the powerbomb on Shelton Benjamin and gets the pin. MVP is applauding up on the top of the stage, tries to hold up Apollo's arm. Apollo says, "Don't ever touch me again." Bobby Lashley comes running down, puts the full Nelson on Apollo Cruz, and leaves him sitting there. Our final segment of the night is Rey Mysterio and Dominic coming out to the ring. Mysterio talks about what happened with Dominic last week. He says he's proud of Dominic, but at the same time he's angry with him just because he put himself at risk. Mysterio says since Dominic fought for him, he's going to fight for Dominic. I hope we're not going to have a Dominic custody match again. Dominic says that we're going to fight as a family. Seth Rollins then comes out. He pretty much just says, "Do I beat up Rey Mysterio or do I beat up Dominic?" Walks down the ramp, kneels at the end. The Disciples then come out. Then Aleister Black and Humberto Carrillo come running out. They take out the Disciples. There's a big fight. Rey Mysterio gives a 619 to Rollins. Then all of the faces attack Rollins, trying to put his face through the steps like they did with Mysterio. The Disciples come in for the save. They try to do the same thing to Dominic, but once again, they're chased off by Black and Carrillo, and we have a big standoff between the ring and the stage as we end tonight's Raw. Tonight's Raw was a mixed bag. One of the big down points is, once again, we had to go 30 minutes before we get our first match. That sounds kind of like what we used to do, last year? Most of the matches were pretty decent. There were a couple that were pretty much just fucking filler. The Akira and R-Truth match, that really could have been skipped. Liv Morgan and Natalya fucking went nowhere. There was a slight part backstage where Ruby Riott met up with Liv Morgan. That really didn't go anywhere. Maybe they might get back together. Who knows? I honestly thought that, just a little bit of me thought that Rey Mysterio or Dominic were going to turn tonight, more leaning towards Dominic, but you know, it's still early in the season. Before Extreme Rules, we may actually get that. Who knows? It's probably going to be Seth Rollins and the Disciples versus Rey Mysterio, Humberto Carrillo, and Aleister Black for the soul of Dominic. Yeah, that just sounds about as ridiculous as it happened, was it, 10 some odd years ago?
Oh, for God's sake.
But that'll do it for this episode of Raw Recap. I'll be back later this week with a SmackDown review. Leave a comment down below what you thought of tonight's Raw, what you thought about this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to share and subscribe. I've been Fatalroadie. You've been awesome. Thank you very much for watching. And remember, if it's too loud, you're too old. See ya.